off the island. Thank you.
I thank the Speaker of the United States. I now give the floor to the Speaker of Nicaragua, followed by Israel and Ukraine.
Señora Presidenta.
Madam President, as the Assembly once again expresses its support to Cuba and for the 33rd time in a row calls for an immediate ending of the United States blockade against Cuba, the world has witnessed this decisive solidarity with Cuba and the erroneous and illegal nature of the criminal blockade by the United States against Cuba. As we have all heard, these grateful expressions and expressions of solidarity towards Cuba over the past 2 days came especially from the representatives of the biggest, most significant groups that we participate in and belong to in the United Nations, such as the statement by Iraq on behalf of the G77 and China, Uganda on behalf of the non-aligned movement, Turkey on behalf of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, Barbados on behalf of CARICOM, Guinea-Bissau on behalf of the African Group, Singapore on behalf of ASEAN, and Eritrea on behalf of the Group of Friends in Defense of the Charter of the United Nations. The denunciation of this blockade against Cuba is universal. Only the country that applies it, the United States, was the only country that tried to justify its own anachronistic policy. As has been said throughout this debate, it is clear that there is universal support for Cuba from the entire world, and also it is clear that this criminal blockade is, in and of itself, the most serious, systematic, and flagrant violation of the human rights of the Cuban people. Moreover, it was made plain that there is a total rejection by countries of Cuba's inclusion on the illegal and unilateral list of state sponsors of terrorism. Nicaragua voted in favor of the resolution just adopted, and in so doing reaffirms its unshakable solidarity with the heroic Cuban Revolution, with its government and its people that are an example of dignity, resistance, and international solidarity. We reiterate that the only legitimate path is respectful dialogue on the basis of sovereign equality without conditions nor threats. Madam President, lastly, we would like to express our full solidarity with the peoples of our great Caribbean, Jamaica, Cuba, Haiti, and other Caribbean states that, as we speak, are facing the disastrous consequences of the weather phenomenon Hurricane Melissa. We express our condolences to the families and governments over the loss of life. These increasingly frequent and extreme tragedies are the consequences of global warming and the climate crisis, which has been accelerated by the failure to comply with legally binding commitments made by developed countries under the United Nations Framework Convention and also the Kyoto Protocol and the Paris Agreement. The failure to comply with that by developed countries makes these phenomena increasingly disastrous in the Greater Caribbean. Thank you very much.
I thank the Speaker of Nicaragua. I now give the floor to the Speaker of Israel, followed by Ukraine and Peru.
Madam President, yesterday this hall witnessed an unacceptable display of disrespect when the Cuban delegation attempted to silence the United States during its statement. The blatant abuse of a point of order was a clear affront to the dignity and procedures of this institution. It is very unfortunate, though not surprising, to see such misuse of procedural rules in an attempt to undermine the core values of the United Nations, including freedom of speech. Thank you.
I thank the Speaker of Ukraine. of Israel. I now give the floor to the Speaker of Ukraine, followed by Peru and Romania.